Good day. The overall common denominator to this program, all the segments, is the importance of minimizing internal marketing in a company. Internal marketing meaning politics, internal miscommunication, conflicts, backstabbing sometimes. All of that robs the organization of its energy. So instead of fighting the competition, what are we doing? We're fighting each other. And energy is fixed. So whatever energy you spend inside, you don't have it available to go outside. Thus, the purpose of the Adizes methodology is how to build a culture where this internal marketing is minimized. How to build a culture of mutual trust and respect so that all the energy is focused constructively. It is, like a good machine. You don't want to have too much friction. If you have too much friction in the moving parts, the more moving parts, by the way, the more maintenance. And if it's designed badly and it's a lot of friction, what's going to happen? You're going to have a lot of consumables. You will have to have a lot of repairs. Why? Because the machine is constantly in friction. Not only you're wasting energy on friction, instead of using it for pressure, you're wasting it on friction, but also you have to replace all the parts all the time. That's what happens in such an organization. The analogy will be, they fire a lot of people all the time. Why? Because it's like consumables. They bring them in, they rub them, they destroy them, throw them out. Bring another group in. The machine is destructive. It destroys its parts. So how do we build the culture of mutual trust and respect? How do we do that? How do we build that culture? And that's the purpose of the Adizes methodology. I want you to understand that the whole program is geared toward that. I found out that mutual trust and respect, as a result, as an output, is caused by 4 factors. I'm saying these words as an output, as a result, because we are not looking for companies that have mutual trust and respect. Because if they already have it, they don't need us. We can help them to reinforce it. We can help them how to nourish it, so it's not based only on good intentions or past cultural background, like Japan. Japan has a lot of mutual trust and respect internally, but they don't have a system how to nourish it. You see, it's cultural, and they can easily lose it, and they've been losing it. So our goal here is primarily how to convert, how to change, how to transform an organization where this mutual trust and respect does not exist into one that will have it. In other words, we are into organizational healing, into organizational transformation, into organizational change, but not just any change, but change for the better. And I found out there are 4 factors that will cause the existence or the lack of mutual trust and respect. And the 4 factors are: the first one, everybody knows about it, and everybody talks about it, so it's easy to see, and it's the word people. Get yourself good people. Good people, team players, people that command and grant respect and trust. Absolutely true. But please realize I'm putting it here on the 4th factor, not the 1st factor. It's necessary but not sufficient, and it's not even the 1st factor. And this is why it's not the 1st factor. Because it's like cooking a gourmet dish. First, you need the ingredients. You need fresh meat and good vegetables and good oil, all the very good ingredients. But if you don't have the recipe, what's going to happen to the good ingredients? You're going to destroy the good ingredients. And that's what happens in many companies. They get good people, but the system is wrong. The environment is wrong. The organization is wrong. So what happens? They destroy these people. You've probably seen it in your professional life many times, where outstanding people come to the organization after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, they lose it all. And instead of becoming stronger and better, they become weaker and worse. And they actually quit mentally, if nothing else. You burn them out. So producing a quote-unquote gourmet dish requires more than outstanding, dedicated, loyal, mutually respectful, and trustworthy individuals. What else do you need? Well, you need a process. That's what I mean by the word recipe. You need a process how these people who are different from each other, whose styles are complementary, can work together. And this includes 3 parts. And each one of these parts, there are many, many segments in this program that cover those 3 parts. But the 3 parts is, number 1 is, how do we have a dialogue? I call it one-on-one. How do we communicate one-on-one? You are different than I am. So how do I understand you? And how do we don't get, into a locking horns? How do we avoid getting into a situation that we don't want to talk to each other anymore? I'm talking one-on-one. And there is a segment in this program is how to deal with a P style and an A style and an E style and an I style, which you should look at and study. And that's what this part is. How do you work with people whose style is different than yours? It's one-on-one. It's just a dialogue. By the way, it could help you to do one-on-one with your own head, which is really a monologue. Talking to yourself, how do you listen to yourself? Because you might have disagreements within your own head, different styles within your own head. But let's continue. What else do you need to learn in the process? Well, what happens when you have a meeting? And now you have multiple styles in the room. It's a zoo. Now how do you handle it? Because if you handle it addressing this style, the other styles are going to not understand or get impacted. If you address it by this style, what do you do now? So I developed, and there is a segment in this program, how to manage meetings so that it's like the Esperanto language. It's a new language that all can join independently of their mother tongue. So how do we manage a meeting so that all styles can follow and we jointly can make a decision in spite of our differences of style? This is, I call it one on many. One on many, or many on many. When we have a meeting, how to run a meeting. And then the third component, in your own head, how to understand what's going on, which is perceptions of reality. Are you talking about what you want? Are you talking about what should be? Or are you talking about what is going on? How and what sequence to handle your perceptions of reality so you can see it clearly. You know what? It's like a camera. You cannot have a camera focused on something which is a few yards away from you and at the same time also focusing on something which is maybe half a mile away. You have to decide what the focus is going to be and what is going to be less clear. So when I take all those filters, what is going on, what should be going on, what I want to be going on, at what sequence do I put them? If I start with what I want, and through that I see what should be done and what is going on, I'm very biased. I don't see reality. That's typical of the entrepreneurial type. They go by what they want, and that's why they sometimes jump off the cliff, because they don't realize that there is a cliff there. So what is the sequence by how we look at problems? What are the filters? In what sequence should we put them? There is another segment dealing with that. So you need the right people, for which there is a segment, and then you need the right process. Not good enough. I want to cook a gourmet dish. I have the good ingredients, and I have the recipe. How to cook them together so that I have a dish. What's missing? Hardware. If I have a bad oven, that goes up and down in the heat, and I cannot control the heat, or it's discontinuous from time to time, I cannot cook, I cannot bake. It's not going to happen. Although I have the ingredients, although I have the recipe. And what does hardware really mean? It means the structure of the organization. I already told you that an organization is like a machine, moving parts. And if it's not designed correctly, and a mechanical engineer will tell you to design it correctly so there is maximum pressure and minimum friction. If you design badly, you have a lot of friction, what's going to happen? The parts are going to get consumed, and the energy that could have been used for pressure is now wasted on friction. So it's wasteful and dangerous because it's destructive. So we need to have a right structure. And what does it mean? It also has three parts. How to divide responsibilities correctly, and you have some segments about that in the program. How to divide authority correctly should be how far down do you go, and what does really the word authority really mean? There is another segment in the program as well. And then how to divide the rewards correctly so people feel accountable. They know what they're responsible for, they can carry it out, and they get rewarded for what they have done. That is the right structure. It's composed of three substructures: the structure of responsibility, structure of authority, and structure of rewards. Is that good enough? Not yet. There's a fourth factor here. We must have common vision and values. There is going to be mutual trust and respect when we have a common vision and common values. And our structure of responsibility, authority, and rewards is correctly done. So we don't cross into each other's territory, we collaborate. Good fences make good neighbors. We know what we are responsible for, each one of us, and jointly we are not just building a wall, but a place to worship to God, and we know what every one of us is doing for the totality. And we have a way to make decisions without getting into each other's hair, without violating each other's space and learning from each other. And the ingredients are right. The people are right. You need all the four to create mutual trust and respect. The This program is a program. How do you start? We don't usually start here, you see that? Why we don't start here? Because starting there means we have to bring new people in. I'm saying is no. Change the environment and the people will change. And those that don't change, then you get rid of them. But give a chance for the camels that are in polar bear skins to shed the polar bear skins and to show that they're camels, which is in the segment on structure, where I'm explaining how people adapt to their environments, and thus you really cannot tell, is it a camel or is it in a polar bear skin or is it a true polar bear? Because it's very cold up there, so you don't know who adapted how. Those people maybe adapted themselves to the mess. So by changing the mess, they will change. And if they don't change, then you get rid of them. So we have to work on what? First we start with the process. Let's learn how to work together. Let's learn how to work together. Then let's use the process to develop what is our vision. And in light of that vision, let's build a structure. And now, as we are doing all of this, the people are changing. And eventually, when you finish the program, you will have the right vision and values, right structure, right process, and right people working in tandem. And what's happening? As you're doing this process, mutual trust and respect is changing. The energy that got wasted is decreasing, and more energy is available to work with the environment, to work with against the competition, and the company is growing leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds. You don't have to wait until the whole thing is finished. Every little piece that you do is already changing the culture of the organization. It's already giving benefits. From the first day, why? Because every change already is making a change in the culture of the organization and improving to reduce the amount of energy being wasted. And this is a testing methodology. I want to repeat it, tested. Companies have grown from 12 million to 750 million without any dilution of ownership. from capitalization of 250 million to 3.5 billion. What's happening? It is a program. It is a sequence. Here are the factors that change the culture of the organization. Thank you.